everybody. Welcome to the Start Today podcast. I'm your host, Chris Cavallini. I'm excited because today I have a message for you that I know that you're going to want to hear. All right, right now, we're just going to get right into it. All right, normally, do a little warm up, but today it's all business. Right now, your mental health is just as important as your physical health. Many of us right now are experiencing extraordinary emotions in response to extraordinary times. Hundreds of millions of people right here in the United States and around the world are obviously doing their best to help contain the spread of COVID-19. We're trying to make sense of all the protests, the riots, the Democrats versus the Republicans, and all the other bullshit that's being jammed down our throats to serve a backhanded agenda that the overwhelming majority of the population just simply aren't aware of. Okay, when people consume this toxic information, these government warnings, the political attacks, and all this basically mentally poisonous content, we're led to believe that we're unsafe, that the state of America is that we're destroying ourselves from within, and these feelings perpetuate mental health issues like anxiety, depression, overwhelming anger, and basically that scenario adds to this already deep pool of negative energy that's flowing in society right now. All right? We're all in this together. That's a fact. All right? It could be several more weeks, months, if not longer. And basically, we need to start kind of adjusting our game plan a little bit. And we need to begin to take action that will help us avoid driving ourselves fucking insane or allowing others to basically suck us into all the fighting, the negativity, and the craziness. Because from that level of consciousness, from that perspective, we're not going to be able to think clearly. Our cortisol levels are going to be through the roof, which that is not good for a number of reasons, one of which it's going to basically drain our energy and distort our ability to make good decisions that are in our own best interest to help us move forward. Okay? Right now, people's emotions are all over the fucking place. Americans report to feeling stressed, angry, anxious, and worried. Almost everyone that I posed the question to this week when I asked, hey, how's everything going? Everyone responded with some variation or another of, I'm tired, I'm mentally exhausted, I'm just ready for all this craziness in the world to stop. All right, chronic low-grade anxiety, depression, and just a lot of people have told me they're having a very hard time focusing on anything, being productive, or being able to muster up the mental energy to put in the work on their mind and bodies that will essentially fortify these other issues. So enough about the obvious problems that we're all facing as a nation right now at some level. Let's talk about solutions. All right, it's very clear to most people the way in which negative situations, experiences, or trauma affect us as human beings. Okay, we see it in victims of abuse, all right, whether it be domestic violence, people who were abused as children, grew up in broken homes, or grew up without the presence of one or both parents. All right, most of us appear anyway to be somewhat aware of the potential long-term effects on someone who was mistreated or subjected to some very difficult circumstances, abuse, trauma during their early life. Okay, we're all aware of that on some level, most of us. Yet it's often overlooked, undervalued, and simply unappreciated how important, beneficial, and impactful a simple act of kindness can be to someone. Okay, or in this case, right now, during this period of society, millions of people who are currently in need. On both a macro and micro scale, every single day, we neglect numerous opportunities to make the world and the people in it better. One act of kindness at a time. We find it easy to be on the street or, downtown somewhere or drive by, when you get off the highway. We find it easy to look past the homeless person that's out there baking in the sun, begging for your change, right? The disabled person who could use a hand, or the distraught individual who is clearly hurting, clearly broken inside, but, we decide to look the other way. Or even the pieces of trash that are littered in our streets and sidewalks that we casually and lazily will walk by every day, right? Like, we'd rather avoid eye contact with that person standing on the street corner holding the sign than lend a helping hand. We turn a blind eye to the fact that maybe that person, maybe they have kids or even a dog a few blocks away that are camped under a bridge waiting for their mom or dad to come back, right? And the reason that they're out there baking in the sun, begging for your change, is because they're attempting to round up some change so their kids or that dog don't have to go hungry that day. We're gonna drive right past that car that's broken down or wrecked on the side of the highway more often than not, right? And this is normally the narrative. If we do give it a second thought, most of the time we don't, but if we do, that second thought typically is of judgment, annoyance, or just anger, because in our mind, we think that obviously now we've been inconvenienced in such a way that we've had to sit in traffic a few extra minutes. And for reasons that will never become clear to me, people tend to act as if this person who got into an accident, that they wrecked their car on purpose just to make us late or, basically screw up our day, whatever we have going on that day. Not for a second do we think for a second, man, I wonder if they're okay. I wonder if there was children in the car who maybe they need medical attention, or the thousands of dollars of damage to their vehicle that they'll now have to figure out how to pay. And the fact that there's a very real possibility now at this point, they're gonna be without transportation for, who really knows how long? All right, we're so quick to condemn people for having views, thoughts, and beliefs that differ from our own, okay? And we feel that if, that situation is present, if somebody doesn't agree with us or someone says something that we don't like or someone says something that we don't necessarily believe, we feel that at that point, that person is now our mortal enemy. All right, we don't, for a minute, entertain the thought process that perhaps that person came to think that way and, how they were raised, what type of environment they grew up in, right? The information that they currently have access to, the people they talk to, the trauma they may have experienced earlier in life that left them permanently and mentally scarred. And because, maybe because they have no positive example to model, they follow the behavioral patterns of their parents or other people with similar circumstances that are around them, okay? And they actually think that what they're saying or doing, no matter how far-fetched or how self-sabotaging or irrational their behavior, they actually believe that that's what they're supposed to do, okay? And guys, if you know me and you follow me, this is something that this next one, all these things hit home for me, but this one is something that is really important to me. It means a lot to me. All right, and that's the trash that I see in the community and that we all see within our communities, respectively. Right, whether it's our communities, the workplace, even some of you guys in your own homes. Right, if you have roommates or you live with somebody, or maybe you didn't do it, your significant other did, whatever the case is. Like, a lot of people, from my experience, they go with the narrative that if I'm not the one responsible for putting that trash there, then fuck it. And they take it a step further in some instances by literally spending more energy, condemning the guilty party, in their own mind as they casually walk by it with this negative narrative in their head. They spend more energy doing that shit than it would take them to just take responsibility over that tiny little problem, Pick up that piece of trash and recognize it for exactly what it is, all right, which is a valuable opportunity to lead by example and take initiative to make the world a cleaner, healthier, more positive place to live in. Okay, because that's what it does. When you break it down, that is what it does. Every little piece of paper that you see on the ground is an opportunity to make the world better. Our own acts of kindness can change the life of a person or the behaviors of society. That's a fact. That's an undeniable fact. And it's something that I need you guys to start really entertaining and believing to be true. I need you to understand that this applies to you, that you can make an impact, that you have a responsibility to make an impact. Okay? If we stop to give the homeless person something to eat or a few bucks, or offer our help to the disabled or elderly person that, might be having a hard time, but are just too embarrassed to ask anybody for help, right? If we take the time to provide some old clothing that we haven't worn in years to the person sleeping on the street, so perhaps they can go do a job interview and actually find a job and begin to change the circumstances of their life, right? If we stop to check on that person that's broken down on the side of the road or that wrecked, to make sure they're okay and to offer our support and help, regardless if we have somewhere to be. If we do these things, perform these acts of kindness on a consistent basis, we have the potential to not only change the course of one person's day, but to permanently change their outlook on life, which then guess what that does? It's gonna transcend to those around them. And then it's gonna transcend to all those around them, and so on and so forth. It's like this crazy, giant, just spiderweb effect of positive vibes. Okay, it's the spreading of a positive virus that makes a positive impact, and it's not hard. These things that we're talking about, like, are they really that hard to do? Every action that you take, every single one is going to affect the life of someone around you. All right, which direction, of course. Well, that depends on the intent of your action. Kindness is the act of doing something for another person without the expectation of having it paid back to you. In many cases, and in most cases, an act of kindness cannot, in fact, be paid back. All right? Now, what are a few practical examples of ways that you could level up as a human being and begin performing random acts of kindness on a daily basis? Well, when you arrive to work every day, take a little bit of time to greet your coworkers, even if it's a simple good morning and a smile, right? Let somebody have the better parking space. Stop being so stingy giving out compliments. All right, you should be giving them out liberally, without limitations, early and often, to people you come in contact with throughout the day. All right, tell someone they look good. That, even if it's just tell them, hey, you know what, you wear that smile well. Okay, just be thoughtful and have your goal to basically leave the other person in a better mood than you found them. All right, little insight. Women, they love being complimented on their hair and shoes, and fellas, well, we like it all. All right, stop to make sure that everyone is okay at the scene of a breakdown or an accident. All right, hold the door for someone behind you. Now, this is something that's talked about often, but here's the thing. This is going to require you to be mindful and present every time you walk through a door, which I promise you, most of you, you're not, and you're not aware of it. Okay, this is something that I'm very conscious and aware of. So when I walk through a door, I'm thinking of that person behind me because I'm present in the moment, okay? And honestly, I look back, even if I don't know that there's somebody behind me, I'm on offense. I'm looking for that opportunity. But if you're not looking for that opportunity because, your head is up your ass, or you're focused on the stress of the day or that problem that you have to deal with, later on, whatever, like, you're not even going to think to pass that door and, possibly end up slamming it in somebody's face. And you're doing it not because you're a rude, ignorant piece of shit, but because you're not being present in the moment. All right, give up your seat for someone for no other reason than it's a demonstration of good character. Okay, offer to take someone, maybe someone who doesn't have a vehicle, okay, or for whatever reason doesn't drive. Okay, offer to take that person around and run errands or go places that they otherwise wouldn't be able to. All right. So every morning, get up after you do your gratitude, after you do your morning personal development routine that hopefully you guys are staying consistent with, especially during this period. Send a video message, a voice note, or make a call to just one person. Okay, to let them know that you're thinking of them and to tell them how amazing they are. Okay, not a text, not a DM. All right, we're going to go the extra mile here, and we're going to show that person that they're special to us, and we're going to make it really mean something. All right, make eye contact with the homeless person holding the sign, okay? Acknowledge them like a human being. Offer them food, give them a few dollars. What they do with that money, that's none of your business, all right? Have good intent and the faith and belief that they do as well. All right, volunteer somewhere that feeds the homeless and people in need. I promise you that you'll benefit a hell of a lot more in that scenario from this selfless act of kindness than those that you're actually helping. And I know that sounds crazy and counterintuitive and hard to believe if you've never done it, but please take my word for it. There is truly no better feeling in the entire world than selflessly helping someone who needs it more than you. You guys are just gonna have to trust me on that one and validate what I'm saying for yourself, okay? Leave a really good tip, all right? And let's go above and beyond that. Let's leave a good tip and let's write a little note thanking that person for what they do, all right? And that, you know what, your experience was amazing, and you know that the reason was because of the service that they provided you. How often do you think servers actually get acknowledged like that? And I mean, if they provide you terrible service, you don't have to do that. But even if they just do okay, you doing that has the potential to just change that person's perspective and mindset. And just look, you're doing it because it's the right thing to do. All right. And look, maybe the shoe's on the other foot and you're serving someone, right? In some capacity, service industry, you're a waiter or whatever the case is. Why not take a minute, okay? Not even a minute, literally a few seconds to genuinely thank every customer for coming in, and that the opportunity to serve them that day actually made your day better. All right. And if you are fortunate enough to have gotten a tip, say thank you. Genuinely, all right? Not as a formality. Because keep in mind, gratuity, it's something that's not just given, it's earned. So earn it each and every time, regardless of how you're feeling or how that day might be going, regardless of the fact that the person before was rude and stiffed you on a tip. All right, forget about all that. Every interaction is an opportunity to make someone's day, which that in itself has the ability to make the day better for you. Smile, all right? Smile at someone, smile at everyone, all right? Don't think it's weird. Okay, what's weird is you thinking it's weird. Smile at people, regardless if you know them or not. Write a handwritten note to your boss, your coworker, to say, thank you for making work more fun, or for everything that you've taught me, or just simply for the opportunity and the privilege to be part of your team. You guys are sleeping on these type of things. I mean, not only is this a good thing to do as a human being and projecting good vibes and just being a good person, it's an opportunity to strengthen your relationship with your boss, which, common sense would tell you that's probably something you're going to want to prioritize if you have any intention of moving forward in a professional capacity where you're currently at. Okay? If you can afford to, right? Which you can, trust me, because what we're talking about here, pick up coffee, lunch, or a small, thoughtful gift for, your boss or a coworker for no other reason than it feels good to be kind, right? Check on people, ask about their families. Something that is so simple, but it's actually done so rarely in today's society. Learn people's names, call them by their names. There is a lot of pride and fulfillment that comes when we hear our names, when other people call us by our names, especially when it's people that we otherwise might not think that they would even ever care enough to try and remember our name. Prioritize that. Be the person who goes out of the way to remember people's names so the next time you see them, you can call them by that. Those little things, those little details, they absolutely matter. And a good way of doing that when you first meet somebody, when you're having a conversation with them, to try to really cement it in your mind, their name. This is something that I read somewhere that Napoleon used to do, and something that I now do to do my best to remember people who I meet, which I meet so many people. Say their name 3 times as you're speaking to them that first time. All right, that way your brain is able to make that neurological connection between their person, their face, their characteristics, and their name. Okay, not 1, not 2, but 3. All right, what else? Well, okay, here's one that, tune in very close on this one, because this is something right now that's becoming a huge problem, a bigger problem than I have ever seen, if I'm being honest. Hold your tongue when you're angry, and stop feeling like you need to debate with everyone who may see the world a little differently than you. All right, instead of defaulting to defense mode, in those situations, learn to just say thank you. Say thank you. I appreciate and respect hearing a different perspective, and it means a lot to me that you've taken the time to share your views. A lot of you guys are like, damn, that is not what I do. Hey, listen, this is about getting better. The Start Today podcast, this movement, it's about getting better. It's about becoming better than the person you were yesterday. And it doesn't matter what you've done. What matters is what you do from here. All right, we live in a very fast-paced world. Many of us are so busy, even if it's just in our own minds, with all the junk that's cluttered in our heads. We're on our way somewhere, our heads are in the clouds or up our ass. We genuinely think that we don't have the time to just slow down for a minute and do something nice for another person. We constantly have so much on our mind. Most of it, by the way, is useless, okay? Not serving us in any capacity. And all it's doing is taking up valuable headspace and draining our finite energy. Okay, we might be thinking about tomorrow's big day, right? The work we have to get done by the end of the week, the problems we have to eventually address at the house, what we're going to cook for dinner that night, or whatever toxic information that we've watched in the news or decided to give our energy to on social media. When we constantly fill our plates and heads with things that don't contribute to the betterment of ourselves as a person, we become so trapped in our own thoughts and emotions that it becomes impossible to see or even think about the people who are all around us at any given time. Kindness, integrity, outstanding moral character is about putting other people ahead of ourselves. And it's about making the time to give someone else our time, which is sometimes our most valuable commodity, because it's like time, it's so hard to come by. And it's something that, we just can't get it back. There's no exception to that rule. So please understand that kindness is something that's done purposely and voluntarily. It's not something that can be taxed or stolen from us, right? Nobody controls our decision to be kind or to show kindness. Nobody controls our decision to do those things except ourselves. We don't do it just after we're inspired to do it, right? After just hearing something like this. We do it all the time without cause, simply because it becomes part of who we are, because it's the right thing to do. Kindness means not first thinking, well, what's in it for me? But honestly asking ourselves in every situation, how can I help this other person? What can I do to make their day, their week, or look, in some cases, their life just a little bit easier? It means seeking to fill a gap in the life of someone who may be struggling, who has a need that they're currently unable to fulfill on their own due to any number of reasons. It means not asking for or ever expecting anything in return, because kindness is the willingness to give part of ourselves without considering what, if anything, is going to ever come back in our direction. Kindness doesn't come with a caveat, asterisk. And when you're talking about kindness, you're talking about always putting other people first. Many of us subconsciously, we have this limited belief systems like, what can I do? I mean, I'm only, fill in the blank. The world sometimes, it seems to be so overwhelming that it makes us feel so insignificant in the grand scheme of things. And makes it appear that there's nothing we can do to make a change in the world or the lives of the people within it. But that's a lie. And sometimes it's an excuse that people make without even knowing they're doing that, right? Because deep down, they just don't want to step outside their comfort zone and be that guy or girl who puts others first in those certain situations. Sometimes we're afraid, right? Is this person trying to screw me over? Are they mistaking my kindness for weakness, right? That's all ego, right? Well, if I stop on the side of the road, is the driver gonna rob me? Look, guys, negative thoughts will never create a positive life. We gotta change that narrative. And when we have those thoughts, those weak thoughts, we have to dismiss them as exactly what they are, weakness, and not our thoughts. And just like those thoughts popped in there, we let them fade away, and then we replace them with positive thoughts of good intentions that actually serve us and help us become better human beings. Other times, we're just so busy or we think, well, I have somewhere to be, and if I let this person ahead of me in the traffic, if I let them, merge into my lane, I'll be wasting time. I have work to do, so I can't afford to spend the 5 minutes it would take to greet my coworkers or call a friend that, I haven't spoken to in a while. Come on now, really? I mean, is that really what it's come to? Listen, I get it. Life can and will be overwhelming, and sometimes we feel as though there's nothing we can do. But we have to realize that that's bullshit, because there's always something that we can do, okay? We can stay on offense. We can stay on offense by looking for opportunities, seeking out opportunities on a daily basis to commit selfless, random acts of kindness. Remember, something as simple as a smile can change a person's day, and giving $1 to someone has the potential to change their entire life. And it's not because they, can then buy a new life with that $1. It's because to them, that small, generous, selfless act of kindness provided them hope at a time where they were dangerously close to giving up. No act of kindness is too small, and every act of kindness has the ability to change the world. That is the mindset and philosophy that I've adopted, and it's something that I take very, very seriously. It's helped me get through some dark times, and in my worst moments where I was feeling, just anxious, angry, frustrated, depressed, all these things, which are emotions that, I'm a human being. I experience these things from time to time, but I have learned, I've trained myself to be on offense, and to, when those situations happen, I do something about it. And I do something about it by looking for opportunities to help other people, by looking for opportunities to serve other people, by looking for opportunities, no matter how big or small, to make a positive impression on the life of another human being, whether or not I know that person on a personal level, or if they're literally just somebody who reaches out to me with a kind message and is in a dark place via social media. So listen, guys, I don't ask much of my listeners, and I honestly, I appreciate each and every one of you out there. I do. The reason I do this podcast, which costs me money, or I don't make money off this podcast, guys. The reason I do this is to pay it forward and to help you guys. And I hope that you guys understand that, me taking the time to put out quality content, which I feel I do, I wish I could get more out for you guys, but I'm never going to compromise quality for quantity. And I want you to know I do that because I don't want to shortchange you. I feel you guys deserve the best of me, and I give that to you as much and as often as I responsibly can. And I know it's something I need to improve on, but please recognize the reason I do this, the reason I take the time to respond to so many DMs in depth on social media is because I care and I appreciate you guys. But I'm going to need just one thing from you. Everything that you just heard and that we just talked about, start today.
Move aside and let the man go through. Let the man go through. Move aside and let the man go through.